Hey, welcome. 3 Minutes with Jay Bala, portfolio manager at AIP Asset Management in Toronto. Jay, you and I have gone back and forth on an article in the Investment Executive, something to do with how advisors are being compensated and the fact that their pays are being cut. And so there's two things. One is I'd like you to speak a little bit about how this is going to affect the investment advisors out there and what they're going to do. And then I also want to have a look at how this is going to affect individual investors, the people that we serve.
Sure. I think what we want to look at is if you look at the United Kingdom and Australia, which is sort of leading the charge on this, is they've banned trailer fees. And because of that, most of the advisors are now being pushed into sort of fee-based advisory. Although that regulatory framework hasn't come to Canada yet, you've seen a lot of the larger banks and brokerages already trying to push their advisors towards that model. It does make sense for a lot of clients. It's better for people with sort of larger books of business. Like if you have a $50 million, $100 million book of business, it makes a lot of sense for you. And if you're in that smaller bracket, you're in that, you manage a $10, $15 million book, that transition is going to be a lot tougher for you. And so, I think you're going to see a lot of advisors sort of leaving that MFDA space, which is the mutual fund dealer space, and looking for sort of alternatives, right?
Right. And I just want to back up so that people are, for those that don't know, a trailer fee is essentially what a managed product like a mutual fund will pay out to the advisor. So that fee is incorporated inside, and then the advisor gets paid the trailer fee for having invested their client money into that fund.
Right. And it makes sense for the advisor because then the advisor can take on smaller clients because he's not doing a ton of work, but he's still providing you some reasonable advice. So, if you've got a $100,000 client, you can put him in a few mutual funds, give him some decent advice. And, he's making $1,000 a year, which isn't a lot of money, but it's reasonable and allows him to help a lot of clients along. Now you come into a fee-based model where you're going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. An advisor might look at that client and say, wait a minute, you want me to pick stocks for you, buy you bonds, optimize your portfolio, create your financial plan, and in return, all I'm getting is $1,000. The answer might be, why don't you come back later when you can afford to pay me $5,000 a year, right? Or something more reasonable. And what this regulatory or this change in fee structure is going to do for a lot of the end clients is it's going to sort of put you in that no man's zone where, you're an interesting client, but you don't make economic sense for us. It's sort of the usual trend as always, the people with $1 million and above are going to benefit tremendously because, they're going to have tax savings. They can write off these fees. There's tons of benefits for them, and they're going to have a lot more people chasing them now. Whereas the smaller clients are going to be we'll help you a few years down the road. Why don't you maybe save a little more and come back later, which means they've got very limited options. Is they can go to a discount brokerage and try to do it themselves, and that's a bit of a dangerous solution if you don't know much about the industry. Or you can go to robo-advisor, in which same thing, you're kind of sort of a do-it-yourselfer at that point, right?
So you're really not going to get any planning advice. This is really essentially going to look after somebody that just wants, a simplified investment plan, but no advice to go along with it. They could do a robo-advisor and get that solution, but they're not going to get any tax planning. They're not going to get any type of real saving strategies or cash flow strategies or anything like that.
That's right.